what I want to know is why you got the best microphone. They gave me the baby microphone and they gave you the big boy microphone. And these guys are so nice here, but I'm not thrilled about that. I'm a little hurt. I'm a little hurt. Felix Rivas. I also want to know why you and I, being friends for 25 years, traveling and meeting each other so often, the one time we do this is in the Dominican Republic. So those are two legitimate questions. I think that is the right way to open this up.
Yeah. So I think the day to day that we actually don't have enough time to sit down, reflect on the business because of the fact that we're working in the business. And at times it's hard to move away. And what better place to step away, have this conversation than Dominican Republic, the land that kind of saw me or birthed me, and have this discussion with you.
Is HR in the room? Because that was the most corporate answer that you
Hey,
have
man.
ever.
As one of our partners would say, I am Mr. Corporate. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's good to be here, and man, you set it up so nicely. Um, Getting away from the day to day, we are building aggressively. I think is a word that I would use. It's nonstop. We could never ship anything fast enough, and stopping and reflecting on what it is that we're doing, what it is that we've done. I think there's a lot to talk about, together. So reflecting together, I think is the right thing. But let me take you back a little bit.
before you do, I'll be remiss if I don't say this. The main reason is our wives. They made this happen. So I do want to say the fact that it takes us having two really strong women to kind of tell us, hey, no, we're going to focus on family. We're going to focus on getting together and we're going to do life together, even though we have to do this in tandem with the business. So I did forget that big minor detail.
As they would say here, tú te estás enfriando. Tú te estás enfriando. Es un hombre sabio.
You
Es
know
un
it.
hombre sabio. I want to know what you did that you're trying to get back in
Oh no, I'm in good standing.
You're in good standing.
I'm not in the sofa, so I'm in good standing.
Bueno, you're better than I. You are better than I. Honey, whatever Felix said, I also thought about it. So if I could get credit for it, but you know what? Having the right partner at home and having the right partner in the business has been key for us. And I want to take us back to 3 years ago when we started chatting. And it was right around this time that I traveled to Texas to start working on the business plan, to start working on the values. Um, so much has come together full circle, including that praxis invitation to interview. We don't need to get into that, but do you would you have foreseen back then where we are today, especially in light of the release you just did? Literally just texted the team coming in.
Um, I cannot say that I knew where we were headed, or that we were going to be here today, right? Because the reality is that I said in a company meeting recently, as you remember, that building a startup is humbling, right?
Mhm.
You make a bet, you build a product, you release the product, and everyone is coming, right? You know this. You were like, hey, I'm doing these marketing pages. Everyone is going to be at the beats of I want in. And the reality was that no one was coming, right? Then we had to go in and rethink and then publish a new product and then learn and then publish another product. And then through that iteration and the grit of not being discouraged, but encouraged while things may not be looking at like they're working. That was what I believe was the hardest part for us to even envision being what we are today. So I don't know how it was for you, right? Like I know you were on the sales front of this, and when we launched in a state where we had no presence, Connecticut. We launched what we call the MVP. We made that bet. And what was it like for you when you put out the marketing pages out there and the results were the results?
Yeah, so that's a good question because the results were nothing, and it required a very fast burn the boats type of pivot, which was to fold Pantiga Group in, and that was scary. That was, you were not in with that. You
Yeah.
fought that in those meetings. I think in hindsight, you were right in that it was going to be a distraction, but it also gave us, access to the market. But I was of the mindset that if you build it, they will come, but not in our business. And it has been a grind. And I can tell you, looking at you, that as the product has evolved, it's probably an outgrowth of who you've become professionally. Now, not to boast, but you are ex Salesforce. You are ex SunTrust Bank before it became. You are the esta gente from
The fintech.
the fintech world, and you came already with a tremendous resume, and you have put everything on the table, and you have been willing to become a different professional in order to talk about birthing what you and the dev team, that I am so privileged and honored to see it, to be part of. So how has that journey of not of living in encouragement in spite of being discouraged, of people not coming, how was that for you? Like,
Yeah.
you build the product, you put it out there, you make the bet, and nobody shows up, or the people that show up, they're not trusting us. So how was that for you?
No, no. As you mentioned, in my lifetime, in the profession that I've had the pleasure of working for companies that had the ability to put a lot of resources
Hmm.
behind a product, and the product just went out. They sold it. Some of them failed initially, but at some point there was some level of success. And something that I came to understand is the power of the brand. That
Hmm.
launching a product behind a big brand, whether that is SunTrust Bank, who became Truist, whether that is Salesforce, there were multiple products that they acquired and revamped and launched, and I saw it with my team being able to successfully implement it in the market. And wow, you know, and the same thing happened on the fintech side. Now you fast forward to stepping away from that world and saying, "I'm going to do this from scratch." And feeling as though the experience on its own is going to get you there. And when there's no brand, you can build whatever you want, right? We built a product, we didn't have a brand, they didn't know us. So from that perspective, I think it gave us the ability to be humbled, right? Forget about the accolades that you may have from corporate America. Forget about the accolades that you had as a broker owner. This is brand new, and all chips are on the table, and we're betting all the chips every time we set out to build a product. So in terms of the product, I think the what gets you to continue to want to build is not only the faith that you have. As founders, we don't have the ability to just not be completely 100% sure that this is going to work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So even though you launched the product and it didn't work, what you look for, what were the signals? They may be very slim. And I remember being on the call with you where you would call me and say, "Hey, we have a signal." And in my mind, I was being the
The Debbie
pessimist.
Downer, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Debbie Downer or pessimist saying, "Well, that's not really a signal," right? But those things are the things that kind of kept us being able to proceed, to being able to kind of say, "Hey, there's something here. Let's make another bet there." Such as, for instance, I didn't want to be distracted with Pantiga Group being acquired because we were building the product. And I knew that the minute that you bring a company, you have to integrate it.
Mhm.
When you integrate it, there's going to be a set of capabilities that I didn't have in the roadmap that we had to build.
Yep.
But in hindsight, and we can get into those details later, in hindsight, those were the things that got us to what I just said, which is those kind of fast track the signals.
Mm.
Now with that said, I think the bigger question, right? Like me stepping away from fintech is one thing, but you stepped away from your own enterprise, and you were kind of doing two roles: broker owner of Pantiga Group, and then CEO alongside of me, a CTO with locqube. How was that? And how was the decision? How did you come to the decision to say, I'm going to talk to these knuckleheads and tell them we got to get Pantiga Group in?
If I could be completely vulnerable, I remember where I was the moment that I knew that that was the move for us as a company. I was making calls in Connecticut, and the offering was good. However, the offering was good, but people were not trusting us. And the currency, the initial currency for a startup, is you got to figure out a way to validate yourself in a marketplace where you're not known with the biggest transaction that people have. And I could not think of a better way to give us validation than to bring to the table the business that I had built, as a traditional broker owner. And I remember I was coming back from the gym. I was with my wife on the phone, and I knew that it had to happen. And there were agents that had been with me for over a decade that I knew were going to leave because they would not like the model that is consumer centric rather than agent centric. And by the way, let me start saying we don't have anything against agents.
No, not at all.
Your wife is an agent.
She is
I am an agent. Our team would probably question that, but I knew that there were going to be relationships, deep personal and business relationships that were going to be severed.
And as you continue that answer, one of the things I remember telling you was, as part of this, there are going to be some really hard decisions that you needed to deal with. And personally, me as your friend, of over, I was going to say 20 years, but you correct me, 18. Is it 20
No,
at this point?
no,
Over
it's
20?
gonna be 26 years.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay.
Good thing this is not your anniversary.
Yeah,
You'll be in the
yeah.
doghouse.
I'll be in the in the
In the
couch.
couch.
But as you continue with that, I know you to be someone that deeply cares, right? And sometimes, as an engineer, we kind of don't have that there's something in the chromosomes, maybe, I don't know. But how was it for you as you were getting into that decision, understanding the relationship, the family that you have built, and the fact that that had to change?
Oh man, I do remember. By the way, as I think about that season, I do think about you expressing your concern with me being able to make those hard decisions for the company, and it came from a caring place, um, and that's a great benefit of doing business with people that you love and care for, respect and admire, as it is you and our other co-founder Jesus. And it is always we care deeply for one another. And you guys, I am the to nobody's surprise, the more emotional one of the crew. um, and I do remember you coming to me and checking in regularly. That again, it makes the burden of the journey, because it's difficult, less burdensome. With that said, I knew that the level of commitment that I had and the level of commitment that you guys had required that um, that willingness to put everything on the line. And there is this biblical narrative. I'm not comparing myself to anyone, but it's the closest thing that I could use to explain it, which is Abraham bringing Isaac to the Mount Moriah, if I'm not mistaken, and being willing to sacrifice his son. And that day, it was a moment that I cried in the car, speaking to my wife. My wife, she's a tender-hearted woman. So again, it was a beautiful moment in that I knew that it was the right thing to do. So the decision was The business element was easy. I knew, hey, the easiest way for us to penetrate a market is to hijack
Yeah.
what I've already built, and we just gotta change the colors, and we're already in. And by the way, that was a success because that year we increased inventory the following year by almost 300% in a market that was shrinking in inventory. The personal element, and I think this journey has been a lot of self-denial and being willing to not know.
Yeah, that's the hard part, right? Is being able to walk down the path that you want to go, but only knowing the very next step.
And that's it.
Just the next step. What it is that we're going to build in the next step. What it is that you're going to go do with on the business side. For me, as we got to that decision, the decision was already, pretty much approved, and we got into it. On a positive note, right? Coming back to me being the Debbie Downer that I am, right?
I would say skeptical.
A skeptic.
I
Yeah, skeptic.
like it when I
I-
offend you. I don't like it when
Yeah,
you
yeah,
offend
yeah.
you. I'm not happy about that.
I was not so much skeptic. Again, I think it was more so I have this ability to be hyper focused,
Mhm.
and my hyper focus was on what I dreamed up the roadmap to be versus what the business needed the roadmap to be.
Mm.
And coming back to the next step, as we got into those discussions, as we started learning and sitting down with the team, with the agents, which, by the way, initially there was it was almost like a veil where they will speak to you, then they will come to me. And then over time, we were able to, I want to say, and as the agents, when they hear what we're speaking about, I hope they agree, is that initially it was uh Manny, I'm here for Manny, right? Not necessarily I'm here for locqube, right? And over time, the direction of the product, we were able to uh improve our capabilities and the use of the product tremendously by being able to interact with the agents, by being able to learn from the agents, by being able to essentially understand the different uh, type of circumstances and situations that sellers get into, where we're like, oh no, we don't support that, but don't worry, we'll get it done.
Yep.
Right. And there's one one of our agents, Regina, who unfortunately nothing ever worked for her.
Ever.
She had every edge case that you can think of. It was like, okay, we built it, we released it. She tried it because she was there, trying to make this work. Boom, it didn't work. Now, the transition that I saw was that they initially were going to Manny, you, to get something from the product, and next thing you start seeing my phone blowing up from all the agents that were adopting it. So that to me was almost like um, if you go back to the decision, it was an affirmation of, hey, we did the right thing here.
Mm.
And not only did we do the right thing, we started to, push product out, and they were coming back with brutal feedback sometimes, right? But for not because they didn't want to use the product, but because they expected the product to be better. So
Yeah. No. There is always that built in, and we would be remiss if we don't mention Jeff and the leadership role that he has played uh, in driving forward Regina, Jessica, Jules, Al, Mr. Feedback King. Here it is, Al Morabel, and how fortunate we've been. And names that I thought that there is no way they're going to stick around, not only stuck around, but as we say in the company, are bleeding purple. And they believe in a mission, they believe in a future where we are building and we're creating an organization, technology, processes, a mindset around the point in life where consumers are, right? Because when someone is selling a house, we recently spoke to a gentleman that lost his wife of 31 years. This is not transactional. Every penny he lost, the income that was coming because she was producing, and every penny from the sale of that home matters.
Mm.
he's still young. What is his future going to look like? And how is he going to set himself up financially? So the fact that it is a transaction doesn't mean that it has to be transactional. So having the type of people, the quality of people at the leadership level, and I could say freely, I have the best two partners in the world, and then the leadership, with Kelly in marketing, with Jeff in sales and revenue, and then the rest of the team, that they're so awesome. To your point, it has been evidence that we did make, not only we made the right decision, but we have the right formula for making decisions, where we pressure test, where we could sit in discourse and we could, high conflict conversations, but always land for what is going to be best for the company and move things forward. And the same thing with your development team. I mean, you have a great team. You guys move really fast. I was just added to that channel, so
We'll get into that.
yeah. We'll get into that. But speaking of product, you literally just push to production. I think one of the most innovative things in the real estate industry in the United States right now, which is locqube AI. I want to know what that process was for you, because you're a good old JavaScript type of guy, and now all of a sudden,
Java.
Oh, Java. Sorry.
Yeah.
I try to flex my language. Man, so that went as far as they could. But you're the good old typing code type of guy. How has that journey been for you? And I want us to get into the role of AI in the real estate industry.
Sure.
So those two things.
Yeah, I'll try to, because I can speak a lot about, it's almost like an opening the question, but
Right.
I'll start with this. When we set out to build what today I would consider a traditional application. And a traditional application that would enable sellers and buyers to transact, and to do so in a very efficient way. There was a thing that you used to call out. You used to say Felix is the efficiency
Junkie. Yeah.
yeah, and that's as a result of my background, right? Like what I was doing with Salesforce, what I was doing in fintech, what I was doing in banking, where you're always trying to make something happen faster, right? You're trying to make processes efficient.
By the way, let me sneak a quick story in. When I don't know if you remember when you and I first started talking, you was like, first thing you did was like, let me look at your tech stack, at your tech stack, and I showed you, and you saw how fragmented that was. So that was the first opportunity that you saw from a technology perspective. Is, hey, nothing here speaks to each other. Like the document management doesn't speak to the CRM, or not properly anyways. There's data duplicate, triplicate,
Text exchanges, email exchanges,
nothing is kept.
manual task is in somebody's head. You as a broker, kind of having a mental note of all of your agents and where each of those deals are. Granted, you have a great person on sales ops with Celestino, and he's trying to manage some of that, but everything was fragmented. And for me, it was a surprise. I mean, had been in banking my whole career,
Right.
and where systems have been integrated for a long time, right? And so when I started to map out, if you remember, we have a huge Lucid chart, I think it is, where we mapped out all of the tasks that an agent has to do. And through that process, I think that's where I started to think through, okay, we're going to just build an app that is going to automate as many of these tasks, and we're going to put the agent where the agent provides the most value. Right. And that has always been the goal. Now, as we did so, there's a little thing that started happening, which is AI, right? So we have pushed out our MVP. Our bet to the market was the first thing people want to do is explore, understand the value of their home, understand from the value of their home how much money they can take,
Right.
Post closing. So we built some tools, we built some market reports to enable that. As we're going through that process, right, we acquire Pantega Group, as we established, and then through that process, we're making capabilities specifically built for agents, which is the world that I'm from Salesforce, building capabilities for the person that is enabling the consumer.
Right.
So you kind of felt B2B, so it was like within my wheelhouse.
Right.
So we're building for them, we're building very fast, and we ourselves started to move in a direction where we were fragmented. We built an app specifically for our agents, and we had an app specifically for the buyers and the sellers.
That's right.
For the sellers and the buyers. And through that process, we started to I mean, AI was already a thing before we started locqube, but it was gaining more momentum. We're getting more momentum. We started to look into the technology, almost thinking it's going to be a while before we have to pivot, before we really have to get into this world of AI.
Right.
Right.
And I remember, by the way, the first time we started writing code we started with Cursor.
Yes.
We started writing code with Cursor. The pushback from your engineering team saying nobody can write code, nobody does it better, like the song says.
Almost. Yeah. Almost.
You know.
And it was more so, who's going to maintain this code?
That's right.
When you have engineers that have been in large enterprises, they know the cost of not having good code when something breaks. So the first adverse reaction was, wait a minute, we're doing what? No, there's no way. Right. And so I think there has been this evolution that has happened within the market and within product building. And I think within the market, we see a lot of I see that I always speak about 3 bubbles. There's the bubble of people with AI that are literally using it like a search engine, the same way that you will go to Google search.
Right.
Tell me about this. And I've used it in that manner. I continue to use it in that manner because it's an ease of information.
Yep.
Right. You can get there fast. Other people are using it for doing research to help them make decisions. Right. And that's another bubble. Now there are other people, which is where we're aiming with our product. And I'll get to the initial part of the question in a bit, which is we're looking to scale what a human can do. Oh, yeah. See, that's because you were talking about my mic.
That's right. That's right.
Hold on, let me.
You're good there.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
This is an iteration process.
Yeah.
You need it higher, or are you good there?
I'm good. So yeah, I'm good. No issues. So anyway, so then the third bubble that I see is the people that understand the power of AI, which again, perhaps there are not as many adopters. And while we see it on YouTube, we see it on Twitter, we see it on everywhere we look, is because we ourselves are in that bubble, which is, how do I scale?
Right.
How can I do more? And I believe that that's where that's where the technology is headed. And the people that are looking to leverage AI to scale, those are going to be the people that are going to be able to truly take advantage, both on the consumer side as well as within companies, which is the direction that we're going. And so as we were building the product, we went through that process internally.
Right.
So even before we're pushing out a product where we're telling people, hey, use our AI,
we
had our own friction within the team where, hey, who's going to maintain this?
Right.
And all of a sudden we go from writing almost no code in AI to writing 100% of our code in AI. One of the challenges that we continue to see is when, as an engineer, you kind of step away and say, I trust AI. I trust the fact that the code is clean. I trust that the code is going to work. I trust that it's able, through my prompting, through my planning, to leverage existing patterns to then publish it out. And then also understanding that, hey, the same AI that built it can support it. It's a transition. I do believe that even myself, I end up saving a lot of time building. And then the last mile becomes a really long mile because I want to look at what the code is doing. I want to look at what, how is, not to say that that testing is not required. Testing is of utmost importance, but is it really required to look at our code?
Yeah.
And then that relates to what we're betting with the consumer. When the consumer starts to leverage AI to scale, how much of it do they really have to check? And there is a lot of people that are skeptical, where they feel that AI is not there yet to be trusted. And AI is non-deterministic, as we know. It makes mistakes, but there are things that us as a company that we're doing
Yep.
to make sure that whatever our AI is doing is within compliance of the rules of fair housing. It is within compliance of our broker. Our values are not only
Yeah.
it's not only our people that are standing behind our values, but the AI that we're building is also standing behind that value.
That at least it reflects.
Yeah,
It
it
reflects our
reflects our
value
values.
system of transparency. It reflects our value system of.
No te preocupes, solo
Sí,
Arréglame.
esa se linda ahí.
es que se está cayendo esto. Está como mi agua.
Sí, culpa de Manny.
Sí.
Se puso a hablar de mi micrófono.
El mío no se ha caído, el mío está. No, es chiquito, pero está ahí fuerte. Oye, muchacho.
El chiquito no se cae.
El grande, mira, el grande
Caballo.
está moribundo. Oye,
Mhm.
listen, let me tell you something. You've been an engineer you started coding at 11 years old, writing code at 11 years old. I wrote a little bit of code, and you know that I was going to do a minor in computer science, and they asked me to build a calculator day one in college, and that's how far my coding career went. So I thought. So now I'm coding. I'm writing a lot of code for everything in marketing. You should be like me. I don't check anything. You should just let it rock, man. You should take a page out of my engineering book, which is about 3 months old.
But now, can you speak about that, right? Because that's essentially what I was just saying, that within engineering, we had that evolution
Mhm.
of scaling with AI,
Yep.
right? Now we're saying the market, the agents, the consumer, they have the ability to use our tools to help them scale, to be able to achieve their goals of selling a home, buying a home. But can you talk about what your engineering experience has been, as you have been adopting AI for the purposes to help in the marketing side?
This is going to be my ringtone. You calling me an engineer. Now it's recorded. So
well, no, I the people that
I'll
hear
take it
me,
back now.
my team understands how I
What you meant. What matters is what I think and what I and it wasn't that. You know, the challenge of going from being a real estate broker and running a smaller brokerage, a boutique brokerage that did relatively well for the market, as our third co-founder Jesus says, it's a lifestyle business. There is a stark difference between building a lifestyle business that I do 3, 4, 5, 10 sales in a month. I have a great month. I could go travel, right? I control my destiny. To building a tech startup and a company that's investable and scalable. The requirement is tremendous speed. And, we speak about this internally a lot. And to be quick to adopt new technology, to embrace new technology, and to dispense with the old ways of thinking about building without letting go of the principles. I mean, so that's a difficult space. It has been a difficult space, I think, for both of us to thread through. But the technology is available. So now, what would have taken us maybe hire a consulting company, hire a design company, hire 1 or 2 engineers that we went, for marketing, we went through, we hired a number of people that actually ended up not panning out because they wouldn't even move fast enough. Now I am shipping pages and workflows and just using code and leveraging this technology. And our bet as a company is that as we build more, we're going to afford the home seller and the home buyer similar abilities to scale. This is not an elimination of people, but it is, how do you make the process so easy and so fast? The other day I did a presentation for a group of business owners in back in New York. And the way I started it was that many years ago, there were a couple of men sitting around a fire saying, "Hey, do you hear now there's this new invention that is going to put us out of work because we carry things, and now this round thing, they call it a wheel. Now we're not going to be able to carry anymore. What are we going to do?" And the truth is that selling a home and selling it efficiently and selling it affordably won't solve the issue that got, or the life season that got the homeowner to where they were. And I want to kind of bring this all together, that building for efficiency is just going to release our team to do higher quality work, right? Rather than data entry, they're moving the needle in a negotiation where it really matters, back to your earlier point. And for our customers to focus on the life season where they're at.
Yeah.
So if done right, it should release us to be more human, right? So where we can get so much more efficiency out, and you can continue to build the platform that it's address in, keys out type of process, which I know that's your aim. I mean, maybe we could, get into what you just released, but the more that happens, it doesn't change the fact that their kids got to go to new school, or that somebody just passed away, like in the earlier case that I noted. So we want to make this easy and affordably so that then our users could focus on life.
Yeah.
The same thing for me. We make this, we've scaled all of my workflows so that I can focus then on that which moves the company forward the most and the best.
And that's actually one of the challenges, I guess, for us as entrepreneurs, and I would venture to think for all entrepreneurs, which is that you're building for the future. And the people of today are not necessarily leveraging or ready to adopt. So the adoption is, those early adopters are the ones that are helping us kind of move towards this future that we believe is where the consumer world is going to go with respect to buying and selling homes, or selling and buying homes. You mentioned something about the wheel. I'm old enough to have been at this juncture where distributed programming, distributed application, which is what we call today, a traditional web app, traditional app. And I remember being at an enterprise where, mainframes were the things. I'm old enough to know about Lotus, and PeopleSoft. And I remember early in my career that there were people that were resisting adopting new technologies, such as Java, such as C#. And, I learned that in order to succeed, you have to be able to adapt. And you have to adapt fast, and you have to see the opportunity. You have to look at things objectively, but at the same time, look at it from an optimism perspective. And I believe that the people that we've met, the sellers that we've met, and even Scott, who just joined us as an agent, that they are more excited. Sometimes they exude more excitement than we do. And we're the ones building.
Right.
And why? Because they understand what it has been versus what it's going to be as we continue down this journey.
Let me ask you straight up: is AI as a concept, as a technology, not a concept? It's no longer a concept. Is AI going to change, materially affect and change the way homes are sold? Yes or no?
100%. 100%. I believe that as we look at AI, again, it's going to be a game of scale, and those that are leveraging to scale themselves are going to be successful. Those that are within the not as that do not have a lot of optimism towards AI, they're going to probably fall behind. And by the time that they catch up, that they realize it may be too late. I believe that AI makes mistake. I spend time reading Reddit. and sometimes I put comments out there, and I get I would never trust AI. Very matter of fact, right? Now, what I hope people do as they hear us speak about this, do your own research
Right.
type of thing,
Sure.
is that AI is not just going into ChatGPT
Right.
and asking it a question. AI, with respect to how AI is being built in a way that what we're doing, that it has the proper gates to ensure that the information that is coming to the user is actually valid. Now, granted, AI is, anything that you give an LLM has a high degree of, errors at the moment, right? But over time, these models are becoming better and better and better,
Yep.
and we've seen it. We've seen it on the coding side. We've seen it with respect to the work that we have done with LLM to help a seller be able to sell their home. Now, one of the things, kind of going back to what we just released, right? One of the things that we just released is the ability for the segment of the market that has a propensity to go ahead and say, I want to sell on my own, right? So these are the for sale by owners. What we believe is that as we continue to build and support agent driven sales, that with the AI that we have built, we can make this accessible to the consumer so that they can do their for sale by themselves with the right level of support, which is our locqube AI. And within that have the optionality. The traditional real estate is exclusivity, right? Your business is, hey, this exclusive right to sell that gives you as the broker and the agent the ability to have a specific amount of time to sell their home. That we continue to, as you know, we continue to build that and to support it, and we love our agents, but we also want to service the market that may need a little bit more than just a platform that enables them to sell. Something that provides them a playbook of what is the journey that you need to go and guides them step by step. And at any given point, whether it is, hey, I am at work and somebody wants to see this house and they want to see it now when I'm at work, and have the optionality to call locqube and say, the same way that you hail an Uber and say, hey, come pick me up. Hey, can you show my house? Right. So we're building those things, and that's where we're looking. We don't have that.
Right.
That's something that we're gonna bake in now that we have this out. But it's giving the consumer the optionality.
Yeah.
Hey, sell it on our platform. We have a guide, right? The guide is for you. Our agent is gonna our AI agent is gonna guide you through the process. And if at any time you need professional help for a specific thing, call us.
Yep. Yeah. So this is kind of summarizing that we just released locqube AI, which is again, quite a consequential, I think, step in the way homes are going to be sold in the future. And the locqube AI, it's context aware, is data aware, is positionally aware where the seller's in the journey, and it could, just to your point, it has a playbook that will walk a homeowner through the sales. It's not just like check one, get your property valuation. No, it's specifically speaking. Could you get into that a little bit about how specific does it get? locqube AI with, I am, John Doe, and I want to sell my property 123 Main Street. How specific is it to my use case? Is it just a generic prompt that I put to help me sell my house, like that gentleman did in Florida, and it got, or is it how?
Yeah, no, and I know it's rhetorical for you, but for those that are listening to us, the way that we built it is, the end goal is always to do it as if Manny is sitting across the table from a consumer, right? And I've been on leasing appointments with you, right? As we've gone through this process. As you mentioned, my wife is an agent, so I'm hearing her when she's speaking to her clients. It's how do we ensure that we're providing a differentiated experience for that specific consumer? How do we know, as our AI is interacting, how do we know that, hey, this person's objectives may be different than the next. This person is looking to buy a bigger house because they just had a new family member come into their family. Another person may be going through a divorce. Another person may be going through death. Another person may be going to a new opportunity across the country,
Out of state, right?
out of state.
Yeah.
So our AI has a playbook that is a comprehensive playbook from the time that you're exploring to the time that you're selling. But where locqube AI comes in is how it manages the process in a way that is very individualized to that specific property, to that specific person. As you mentioned, we within the technology, we have connections to a lot of data sources. And all of those data sources, we're not using, hey, we believe, we believe that, the market is going in this direction. No, we have data, it's data backed. So when, again, coming back to some of what I look at in Twitter, X, what I look at in
Nobody's going to sue you. It's okay.
in Reddit, I'm looking for the sentiment towards AI. I'm trying to understand, and normally the sentiment is, it needs a human to view it.
Mm.
And the part that is deterministic, I believe that we have the ability to give that information to our agent and be able to help a homeowner make it, the right decisions for their homes in a manner that is very specific to their circumstances. Right, so we are managing and ensuring that our agent understands what is the objective. Hey, I want a bigger house. Hey, I need to sell because I'm in a financial distress. Right, and he's going to guide you the same way you would guide me.
Right.
I was selling a lake house, right? And when I was selling that lake house, you were very matter of fact with Victoria and I.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, well, what's your objective? Because I remember your objective was XYZ. Right. So that level of objectivity is what we're looking for our sellers to have, and the level of guidance and understanding what's the process. Coming back to the evolution of the product, initially we built a product that had all the capabilities, but it wasn't easy to follow. And what we just released was a spine, as you put it, the spine that enables anyone using the application, right? The tool or AI to understand what is all the process, the complete process, the steps, where AI is helping them decide, and where AI is taking them within the application for them to be able to take action.
And that's one of the things that I'm most excited about, which is that the homeowner, okay, is able to orient themselves as to where they are in the process and what's left. So not only, I love the fact that it's very specific, it's property specific, it's market specific, it is situationally aware of where the consumer is and able to guide them, or at least give them options the way an agent would. Now, the question could probably turn around, it's like, it's never going to be as good as an agent. True, I would say, is never going to be as good as the best agents, but the industry, and this is going to be very controversial, but there are a lot of agents that should not be in the industry involved with the biggest sale and the biggest financial transaction that people have.
Yeah.
So right away, what we just released is going to be head and shoulders. And I'm not saying we've never been advocates for the elimination of agents.
No.
But we want to improve the quality in the industry, and we want to make it affordable. So in the last few minutes that we have,
no, but before I do want to comment on it would not be better than a human agent, right?
Right.
I would say today it's not, but as engineers, we have a level of ego, right? That we're great at what we do, that we write the cleanest code, right? That we do it better. And if you speak to the team, including myself, it does it better. And it's gonna be hard for agents to perhaps see that. The question is, how does the agent evolve? to leverage it as a tool, right?
Totally agree.
You know, one of the questions before you ask me another question, one of the things that I'll kind of pass over to you within this vein is we had the opportunity to go SaaS
Mm-hmm.
and sell this to other brokerages,
Right.
right? And one of the things that we spoke about as a team was we want to make sure that we're delivering value that at the end of the day helps the consumer keep more of their equity, of their money. And we don't have the ability to do that if we build a tool.
Correct.
Like how can you talk about the business sense, and then also understanding from your vantage point as a broker, you know, is it true that other brokerages will not take this kind of solution and pass over the savings as a result of the level of scale that the technology is giving an agent, where maybe they were spending and an ungodly amount of hours supporting one client,
Right.
but all of a sudden, as a result of the efficiency that this kind of technology delivers, should the consumer not be able to get savings as a result of that if
Yeah.
you're spending less time servicing them?
So I'll make
Maybe I'm trying to make you be controversial.
no, I'm happy to. So number one, the first, or one of the first, I should say, industries that AI disrupted was the very industry that built it.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
So, you know,
Very true.
and we've already seen that progression over the last couple of years. We've seen it in our own team, where to do the level of production that we're doing right now, and the speed of release at the pace of that we were doing it when we started, it would have taken us years for us to do what we do now in months. And that time is going to
weeks.
continue, or weeks, right? That time is going to continue to shrink. So how could we not extrapolate the principle from that and apply it to real estate? The main differentiator that locqube has, as much and as great as you are, and you know I love you, and you know that the technology you're building, I'm the biggest fan, but the greatest differentiator is philosophical. The greatest differentiator isn't like we're going to build technology, because everybody has the ability to build similarly, right? Maybe we would do it with better quality. Maybe we do it more thoughtfully. Maybe others do it. That's not the differentiator. The differentiator is, who are we building for, and with which outcome in mind? And because we're building, number one, for the consumer, we're not building for ourselves, although we're building for ourselves, mainly we're building for the consumer. And because we're building for the consumer, we obsess with the best possible outcome for them. So everything points in the direction of a home seller succeeding rather than us making more money. Now, we don't believe that, or we believe that the seller succeeding is going to have an economic impact in our business model, but that is secondary rather than the driver. So the more we build, the more we release, the easier it becomes, the more scalable it becomes, the more the consumer is going to win. The more the consumer wins, the more attracted they're going to be to us. So that goes 100% against the traditional real estate model.
And you know what's interesting is that you're not speaking as you mentioned philosophically, right? You're not just.
I'm not theorizing.
Yeah, this is not theory. We have the data to back it, right?
Right.
Our agents are getting more deals, and our homeowners are saving more money.
So,
Which at the beginning, I know there was, coming back to the Pontiga Group acquisition, the agents were, whoa, wait a minute, what do you mean this is the business model? So can you kind of talk about the actual, data backing what you just said?
So the consumers saving in any of our deals, they're saving between 20, generally 60-70% in what they would have paid in the commission, right? So number one is the actual monetary value and impact that it has in their finances. But as a result of that, we have seen agents double or many times triple their activity and their production for a number of reasons. They are more effective because they're, the platform is doing a lot of the busy work and the lifting for them. They build more trust because everything is happening on the platform. Offers, for example, is the best feature that the most used feature, that as soon as that notification goes out to my homeowner at 8 o'clock at night, at 10 p.m. at night, that an offer was presented. I mean, the time to platform is almost immediate, right? We should have started with that. Maybe that should have been our MVP. And what we're seeing is that it builds more trust. They have the savings. The agents now are having more relevant conversations rather than doing the busy work. So it's released them to be more human, be more present, be more impactful, so that season in life could be easier. That transaction could make for a better transition, and the results show in the economics. More savings, but 200-300% increase in all of the measures. So yeah, it was theory, and glad to say that that was the right bet, and it also makes for easier conversations. A big chunk of, I'll land it here. A big chunk of my conversation in the past of listing appointments is justifying a 6% commission value. And a big chunk of my conversation with customers now is, what does the outcome look like for you and your family? What does the next step look like? We've already done. They already know. They already feel good about it. They love the fact that they have the option to do it on their own, or leveraging our team of unbelievable people. And it becomes about them. It doesn't become about me trying to justify something that clearly the market was not seeing the value. By the way, no one is suing neurosurgeons because they charge too much, because that value is clear. Yeah. There is no lawsuit against neurologists or against surgeons that, oh wait, you charge too much, because the value is there. Whatever they charge to keep you alive and to make you healthy is well worth it. They sued the industry for billions of dollars and won immediately in 115 minutes. What does that tell you? That the consumer was not seeing the price to value relationship. And philosophically, economically, logistically, the locqube approach solves for all of that. We spent a great deal of time thinking through, and so far the signals, I know you're Mr. W, but the signals have shown that we're heading in the right direction. I'm gonna finish with one question. Jules Zafire, this is for you. When is IDX coming up? But listen, you knew I was gonna get scoping.
No. I didn't know. I would have. I would have not accepted
the whole thing.
No.
So. Or when are we building for the buyer side?
Sure,
what does that look like? We don't have to put a time, and then
just to kind of give the background, and thank you, Jules, because you kind of have been echoing this for a while. So one of the challenges that we have, we are seller focused, right? Our focus is what you said just a few minutes ago. So we're looking to be able to make it easier and more affordable to sell a home. Now, a segment of our sellers, if not most of them, but there's a high percentage of them, they are sellers and buyers at the same time. And so the experience that they're having today is they go on our platform, they have a selling playbook, those that want the agent to do it, because again, a lot of, I just want to make sure that everyone understands that we're not anti-agent. We love our agents. I have a really good relationship with the agents that are part of locqube.
Right.
And the product is today what it is, thanks to their contributions to the roadmap. So one of the challenges that they're having as they look to continue to promote locqube, is I have a seller that I'm completely supporting on locqube. They're getting their showing requests, they're getting their offers. I'm helping them through those offers so that they have the ability to counter, to accept. But during the life cycle of the sale, they're trying to buy. And they're having to go to Zillow, they're having to go to Redfin, they're having to go to one of these national portals to be able to find a home. And so there's this thing, IDX fee. Those of you that don't know, that's essentially the same information that those national portals, they're coming from the MLS, and they essentially allow a home buyer to look at homes that they want to go see. So we're looking to be able to deliver an experience that is within the same vein of what we're building, that is AI driven, right? I know our agents are thinking and they're providing us with the use cases. As we take those use cases, as we're looking at, hey, what is the best experience to support this, and not kind of fall back to what feels comfortable, fall back to building yet another locqube.com national portal that consumers have plenty of.
Right.
So our goal is to essentially create a locqube AI driven buyer experience where they have a playbook, they have the agent assisting them, the agent is helping them make the showing appointments with their agent, their locqube agents, and being able to facilitate the sale in tandem with their purchase in tandem with their sale. So that's where we're headed. Again, I know you're trying to commit me to that because this is recorded, but as those that know Salesforce, there's a term that Salesforce uses whenever they're talking about forward looking, which is safe harbor, which means don't make purchasing decisions based on the promises of the future. Do it of today.
Right.
So take that, to the bank. But again, jokes aside, it is something that we're really looking for because we want to service our consumer. We want to deliver the best experience for the seller, and to do so alongside of our technology with our agent whenever the seller says, I need that professional help. And by the way, I'm going to go off the script of your question. One of the things that I think about when I think about our sellers, right, is we've had a few interviews where the seller was emotional about the technology, about the help, about the agent.
Yeah.
Right. You just released a video on Instagram about this, right? With Safed. So, when you build, as engineers, you don't have, sometimes you're pushing out a product and someone else is putting that product in front of a consumer. Yeah. So you don't get that type of feedback, and that's what we're looking to do, right? Is to be able to impact, to have an impact, not just financial impact, but to the point that we were making earlier, which is, if someone has to go look at and tend to that transition, and we can help them focus on that and not necessarily on all of the details that and windy roads that can come up in a transaction, it makes it all worth it because we deliver that level of experience. So again, long-winded there, but
I cannot think of a better point to finish at, that we want to have an impact, and we want to do it for sellers, and we're soon going to do it for buyers. Not building technology for the sake of building technology, but building technology and an organization that touches lives. So what a great conversation. I think we should come to the R
more often
to do this. But
I know you want to close, and that was a great closing.
That was a great closing. You just messed it up.
We'll get production to fix it. But can you talk about because this is the first time that I'm not waving you off. Can you talk about your disruption abilities as a tech founder and how that whole thing started?
I have It takes not just courage, but I think being surrounded by the right team to be willing to disrupt an industry that I love, that was good, that put food on my table. So the being a disruptor is part that, but also being the great interrupter. So if you're working and if you ever think about working with us and joining our team and joining this mission, know, where's the camera? That one. Know that not only we're going to be disrupting an industry, but I'm going to disrupt your work the same way I disrupt this guy's work and everybody who's around me. It's going to be a good time. There's going to be a lot of laughter, but I'm going to interrupt you, whether I start singing, pull out a guitar, just put my nose into your computer, whatever it is. But yeah, we're going to be, I disrupt everything. So if you're around me, know that that's going to happen. By the way, you just disrupted the landing, but it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
It's okay. It's contagious. Man, what a great conversation. I know this is an outgrowth of the conversations that we have. Actually, I'm surprised that it went. I
Yeah,
thought it was
yeah,
going to be
yeah.
sooner, but there's a lot that we have to say, and there's a lot exciting that has happened, that we just released, and that it's going to continue to happen, because what we set out to do, we're going to do.
Exactly.
So
And stay tuned.
stay tuned for more.